Week 5 Sunday Night Football has it all. Just a little hint of revenge for the Dallas Cowboys, who travel to face the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, of course, the team that has knocked out the Cowboys for 2 straight seasons in the playoffs. What do you think is the key to victory for Dallas in this one?
Maybe not thinking it's just a little hint of revenge. Maybe they need a big, gigantic mountain of revenge, Golden Gate Bridge size of revenge. To their credit, I think, here inside the Star, the Cowboys have not downplayed this.
Right.
They have not, it's just another, because it's not just another game. It's monumental in so many ways, certainly in the standings, monumental in terms of playoff, and we're early in the year, but we're still playoff jousting.
Yes.
And then maybe most of all, monumental in terms of the Cowboys' psyche. You can't keep losing to the same team year after year after year and continue to come away saying, we're just as good as they are. Yeah. If you lose to them all the time, Bree, Amaranthus, you're not as good as they are. The Cowboys can say it on paper, and I do believe it on paper. I think you do too. Cowboys, Eagles, and 49ers on paper are on the same high NFC plateau.
Right.
But now you've got to get where the Cowboys haven't been the last couple of years in the playoffs. Don't let the 49ers shove you over the plateau so you go into the drink.
Right.
Something like that.
I like that. One of the most important things in this game is, of course, the health of Micah Parsons. Today at practice, Micah was limited, but when Coach McCarthy was asked about his injury status, he says he's good to go. Talked to Micah after practice, and he interestingly called this game against the Niners an ice game, which means you have to use a lot of ice after this game.
He
also says
not like the ice bowl from the 60s.
No, like he's preparing to have to use a lot of ice after this game. It's very physical. And then Tony said, you know what, actually that was Tony Pollard who said that.
Oh, okay, good.
And then Tony said that the Washington Commanders are the only other team he can recall where you also have to use a whole bunch of ice.
Really?
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, the Commanders' defense, of course, their front and those defensive linemen, I can see why.
Right.
You get knocked around by them, win or lose, their front comes and gets you. And I certainly understand the same thinking here. And by the way, yes, it will apply to Tony Pollard, but you're still right.
Yeah.
Because Micah Parsons, who some people are saying, he's fine. He's not fine.
Yeah. He said he felt great.
Well, I would say he's capable of feeling greater.
You're right.
He's a little dinged up. To some degree, hey, this is week 5 of the NFL, so everybody's a little dinged up. But do not ignore that Micah Parsons, if he was great, he wouldn't have been limited on Wednesday,
For sure.
right? I think he'll be great on Sunday, but I don't think we should pretend that Zach Martin situation, Tyron Smith situation, no question about it, and some other guys, a handful of guys that did not work on Wednesday, handful of guys that will be in rehab or limited even on Thursday. Let's not ignore that the Cowboys are working towards great health. Let's do it that way.
The Dallas Cowboys are the number 1 defense in the league. The San Francisco 49ers are the number 3 offense, but they do not turn the ball over.
Right.
That is obviously going to be a huge key to this one, and you can tell the defense is very motivated to switch all those trends this game.
And when we do here's where they're ranked, and some of it does depend on category. For instance, if you're the number 3 offense, let's say they're number 3 scoring offense, but you also never turn the ball over, that's pretty number 1-y to me. In the Cowboys' case, their ability to take the ball away from you, which is as good as anybody in football the last 2.5 years, their ability to come sack the quarterback, which they've done at a high level here, that supposedly travels. Dan Quinn, coordinator, likes to say defense travels. Well, now it didn't travel to Arizona.
No, it did not.
But now we head back west, and by the way, I'll be there with the Cowboys over the course of the weekend in San Francisco, San Jose, and Santa Clara. So I don't know if their defense travels, but we are. We're going to travel. You'd like to switch those numbers around, and at the same time, both teams are elite in both ways. The 49ers defense is one of the very best, so is its offense. We don't need numbers to see that. The Cowboys defense and offense, the same thing, with the Cowboys having, of course, the singular blemish, red zone conversions. And we've kind of pounded away at this. I think this is an important point to make. The CeeDee Lamb touchdown last week against the Patriots came from the 20-yard line. Therefore, it's not in the red zone. So it doesn't count. even though it was a perfect throw, perfect catch, perfectly executed, perfectly blocked. The touchdown pass from Dak Prescott to Schoon, the rookie, was in the red zone, except for one problem. He didn't catch it.
Right.
And so it's not a red zone touchdown.
Yes.
If the assortment of defensive plays that have been made around here that end up in touchdowns, if those guys get tackled, if Leighton Vander Esch gets tackled at the 1 yard line against the Patriots after his the strip sack fumble recovery, you think the Cowboys score in the next 3 plays on offense? I think they do. So I don't think you can get panicky about the stats.
Yeah.
I think the eye test still rules. The eye test says that the Cowboys aren't good enough yet in the red zone, but their numbers and the eye test going back 2 years plus. Last year, this is the best red zone team in football. Why can't it be again? I think it will be soon. Maybe not against the 49ers, but soon enough.
Let's continue to talk about this red zone offense. Do you think it's the biggest weakness on this team right now, or is there something else that stands out to you as, oh no, this needs addressing?
There's 2 things that go hand in hand. The health of the offensive line might be one of the reasons that they're not as good as they would be offensively otherwise in so many categories. And so Tyler Biadasz, I think, has kind of fought his way through the hamstring at center. Cowboys are probably fine there. It's always alarming when Zach Martin misses a practice and certainly misses a game, because he just doesn't over the course of his brilliant career.
Although Mike McCarthy says he's now hiding under the Veterans Day off for Wednesday practices. So if you see a player who's limited on Wednesday, don't freak out, because
I'm just
literally
resting.
Coach McCarthy says we're going to hide under that blanket
There you
on
go.
Wednesday.
Now, Tyron Smith is not hiding under a blanket. That concern, that knee thing, just won't go away, and it just popped up in the most innocuous way. I mean, he was ready to go a couple weeks ago, and then he's not. Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner, says we got it covered. They have it covered in terms of Chuma Udoka contributing as a starting offensive lineman. But let's make no mistake, you're talking about 2 completely different classes of players. A lot of people wonder why they don't move Tyler Smith from guard to tackle, and obviously one of the reasons is because they think Chuma is doing a satisfactory job. But the other one is, why move Tyler when Tyron's coming back? Because he is, Bree, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Who would be your offensive MVP of the Cowboys so far this season?
CeeDee Lamb?
Okay.
Even though he hasn't piled up?
Yeah, he hasn't piled up the numbers.
No.
But he has been very physical out there.
He's
very noticeably different than last season.
I think so too. And last year, maybe more physical than the year before.
Yeah.
And Tony Pollard's a good pick too.
Right.
There's obvious reasons we're not picking Dak Prescott. I don't think Dak Prescott would pick Dak Prescott, even though quarterback's a conventional pick. Tony Pollard's a very good pick with all those touches. CeeDee Lamb has done everything right. And I like your point. We go stand next to him and talk to him, of course, every week. I'm not saying he's not a big human being. Of course he is.
Right.
But he's not a thick football player at all.
He is so long, but not thick.
He's lean.
Yeah.
And he's put on some weight over the course of years and trying to get a little bigger. So given that he's lean, you don't notice that when he's playing once there's contact. Yeah. He runs through tackles, or tries to, in an impressive way. And I think it's so inspirational. I think there's a payoff when teammates see that. And so this might be a little bit of a outside convention, but I think the Cowboys' offensive MVP through the first month is the very efficient and very explosive CeeDee Lamb.
I like that. I think it's a no-brainer who is the MVP of special teams. Brandon Aubrey seems to be the kicker that the Cowboys have been wanting for so long. So efficient. Today, Mike McCarthy saying, you can just tell. He says, when I stand behind Brandon, you can hear it, you can feel the strength of his leg, and he also likes how consistent he is in his approach to the game.
Right.
Do you feel like the Cowboys finally have their long-term kicker?
In other words, not only the strength of his leg, but the strength of his psyche.
Yes.
And friend of the show and the former Cowboy kicker, Chris Bonio, who was his USFL coach last year in Birmingham.
Yeah.
When they signed him, I called Chris Bonio and said, tell me all about him. He says, intellectually, mentally, his psyche, he's like Dan Bailey.
Wow.
Which is the highest compliment you can give a kicker around here.